Hey guys, this is Atheist, and in this video I'm going to be replying to zsoakes and his question, what is the positive message of atheism? In this video I will be answering that question, whereas in my next video I will answer all the other issues that zsoakes has brought up in his video, and he has brought up quite a few issues. So what is the positive message of atheism? Well, first of all, atheism in the most general sense simply means disbelief in God, can have no positive message or uniter other than that. However, there does exist this thing called atheism in the more narrow sense, a more specific thing than has become also known as atheism. And what is that more specific thing? Well, the terminology is quite a mess, but like I said in my previous video, and I'm going to be repeating myself when I reply to KT45, atheism in essence is scientific naturalism combined with humanism. Now, this scientific naturalism is sometimes called metaphysical naturalism, it's called rationalism, it can be called skepticism. Some religious people have created a sort of a pejorative term, scientism, implying that atheists worship science in the same way they worship their own deities, which is of course strictly speaking not true, and I obviously reject that term. So this more specific thing, to keep the terminology simple, has become known by its most prominent conclusion, which is atheism. It's no accident that of course all atheists in this more narrow sense, of course, believe that, say, when we are gone, when we die, we really die and are gone, because all of our thoughts, emotions are tied to physical processes in our brain, and when those processes cease when we die, so do we. So that's another prominent conclusion of scientific naturalism. Now, how could one characterize this scientific naturalism? What are its most basic tenets? Well, the first basic tenet is that the real world exists. That is not some sort of illusion like a la solipsism, but that the real world around us actually exists and is a real thing, independent of our minds, independent actually of any intelligence existing in this universe. There is this real world. And the second aspect of scientific naturalism is that what is known as the scientific method of carefully examining our real world and scrutinizing and forming theories to account for processes in the real world, that is a very useful method to reliably discover properties of our world. Of course, scientific naturalism rejects absolutism. These conclusions are only tentative and are subject to more information or a novel interpretation of said conclusions. So there's really never any 100% guarantee that we are correct, but step by step we produce more and more reliable theories about our world. Also, scientific naturalism rejects radical skepticism, which is skepticism to such a degree that every single aspect of our world is questioned to the point of it being rejected as untrue. So scientific naturalism is not does not fall into this category, and it also does not fall into the category of relativism. So it's not simply true that I have my theory about the world, some Amazon tribe has their theory, and they're all equal, and we can join hands and sing Kumbaya or whatever. Some theories describe the world better, such as the fact that, the earth is round. Some theories, not so good. Our world wasn't created in some dream by some god, not to mention one who then created Adam and Eve and so on. So really, scientific naturalism rejects relativism, radical skepticism, and absolutism, and entrusts the scientific method as a useful way of finding things out about the world. And of course, any single thing which leaves no trace in this world does not deserve the attribute of existence. So something happening in some parallel universe that will never touch our world in any way is simply a different category, does not exist. So unless, God can show some measurable action to confirm his existence, he does not exist. And of course, all of this has become known by its most prominent conclusion, atheism. Now, you may ask, well, what the hell about those other atheists, such as Buddhists, spiritualists, and so on, that simply don't believe in a God, but believe in all this other stuff? Well, it's not that big of a problem, since they usually have a nice one-word label to actually identify themselves with what they do believe. A mess in terminology has caused atheism to take up the label of atheism. Atheism in this more narrow sense to take up the label of atheism. So that's the way it is, and everyone is happy. And of course, humanism is sort of a general concern for the welfare of all human beings. As simple as that. So, you ask, what is the positive message of atheism? Atheism has a very positive message. The positive message is that when we're trying to figure out what we do, what to do, as individuals, as groups, as societies, we do those things in concern with the welfare of all humanity, and we do those things based on the best information we have about this world, instead of God told me to do this. It's a message where if a child is sick, its parents cannot neglect to take it to a doctor and instead pray that their child will be better, because they believe that their God will grant them anything they want. It's a message against people dividing themselves into these little religious groups and thinking that their God is the true one and the right one, and everyone else is an infidel, a heretic, and deserves to be killed. The message of atheism is no more of this. No more of this nonsense. The message of atheism is a very positive one. And that is all I'll say.